Welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily. Today's episode is a 5 under 5 tiered tray video. I have 5 awesome tiered tray items for you that each cost less than $5. If you like crafting, DIYs, dupes, hacks, thrift flips, or just creating in general, I would love if you would consider subscribing. If you like any of today's projects, remember to hit that thumbs up, but let's go make some DIYs. I have a small love for birds. Okay, it's not a small love, it's actually a large love. I just love using birds in my decor. I feel like not only do they work for springtime, but I can use them anytime. So my tiered tray today is going to be completely like bird themed, but not over the top. Not everything's going to do specifically with birds. But I have this little wooden house. This came from JoAnns, but they do have these at Dollar Tree. You can find them at Walmart. And I just pulled the little knot on the top of it out, and I'm just going to give this a nice paint job. So I painted the base of it white, and then I'm going to use this copper paint on the roof. And then on the little base of it here, I just add a little bit of black paint. But I mean, whatever colors you want to do for a birdhouse, I mean, they're just so fun to kind of personalize. Now, I wanted to try on this copper paint to see if I sprayed my patina spray, if I could get it to work. I didn't do the full process with the primer and everything, but it still worked pretty good. So I was pretty happy with how it came out. Now around the little hole on the entrance of my birdhouse, there's this little flower design. So I just took some reindeer moss and cut that up really small. I thought it would be kind of fun to have a little textural element to look like a little wreath around the entrance to this little bird's home. So I just put some hot glue down, and then I'm just going to gently, if you need to wear finger protectors to do this so you don't burn your fingers, I'm just so used to doing this now that it doesn't really bother me. But I just push that little reindeer moss all around, and then you kind of just want to like look at it after you get your first little sprinkling of the reindeer moss. Maybe you need to add a little bit more glue, add a little bit more of the moss on there. Just get it as full as you want, and then just remember in between each little layer that you're going to go in with your scissors, and you're just going to kind of clean it up a bit around the edge. Make sure that the entrance there is, like you can see here, I'm doing that. Just make sure that the entrance looks completely open and it just looks nice and manicured, like a beautiful little wreath. Since I took out the little hanging portion on this birdhouse, I was left with a little hole in the top there. I'm always like trying to figure out what to do with that. I don't love the hanging tag on it, so I really just tried to decide. I ended up pounding with my rubber mallet a little bead that fit into there, nice and secure, and I just painted it a copper color. And then I have these little finials that I got on Amazon. I'll link them in my description box. But I painted it black, and I just decided to glue that on the top of the bead there to kind of give a nice little finished look to the birdhouse. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you like that? Would you just have left it plain, left it with a hole in there? Sometimes you can use some spackling to cover it up or something like that. But overall, I think this birdhouse turns out really cute. It's going to look so fun on a little tiered tray, the perfect home for any little bird. Today's video is a 5 under 5 challenge video. It was 3 years ago this month that Missy and I started this challenge as hosts, and we absolutely love this challenge. I am so glad that Missy is back hosting with me this month. I've missed her for a couple of months. She's taken off. It is so nice to have her back. We also have guest hosting with us today, Craft Away with May. Her DIYs are amazing. You're going to love them. I've been in another challenge with her, and I just love the projects that she did. You guys are going to love her. So check out her channel as well as the playlist, which will be linked in my description box and pinned in my comments. Let's get right back to the DIYs. For this DIY, I am using this little teeny cup that I got at Hobby Lobby. They have them for different seasons, but any cup or cup and saucer or anything like that would work for this DIY. And I'm also using a coconut liner from Dollar Tree. They have the best deal on these, and I like to have a few in my stash because they're so fun to use for different projects. Now I'm just cutting a piece of this off because I'm going to make a bird's nest out of this. So I just start pulling all of the little pieces apart. Now I'm showing you here that I just cut from the middle part, like the center. So the outside of it is still, you can still use it for other DIYs if you wanted to, or use it for a liner even. But I'm just pulling apart these little fibers here, and then I'm just going to start forming them into a nest. Kind of has a waxy feel, this stuff, when you start pulling it apart, so it kind of holds its shape pretty good. But I'm just pushing it down into my little cup there, and depending on the size of your cup will depend on how much of the coconut liner you'll need to use. But I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue just intermittently around the rim of the cup. That way it's going to hold that nest in place. It's not going to come like popping out of there or anything. It's just to secure it. Now I wanted some little eggs in there. I thought that would be really cute. So if you have some little eggs, that's great. But I love this trick of just getting some air dried clay, some polymer clay, something that you've got. Even Play-Doh would work, I think. But you're just going to make some little balls and just form them into egg shapes, not rocket science. So that's pretty easy. And then I wanted them to be a little bit speckled. Now you could paint the eggs a different color. I just thought it was nice and easy to leave them the white color. But I just watered down a little bit of antiquing wax on a stencil brush here, and then just with my finger, I'm just flipping that on there. A toothbrush would work good. I've seen so many different techniques to get the speckles on there. I even placed them in how I wanted them to go in the nest, and then speckled them a little more so that way the parts that were showing got the correct amount on there. So I wanted these to be nice and sturdy in there, so I'm just using a little bit of hot glue to glue each and every one of the eggs in. Now, depending on what type of cup you use for this, you may already have a beautiful design on it. Maybe you like it plain or you want to do something else to it, but I really just wanted to add something a little extra, like a little bit more onto my little cup here. And so I have this little rub-on transfer from Dollar Tree, and I thought I would just kind of pick out a word on there that really kind of fit. I loved the size of this word that says dream here. I loved the font of it, and I thought it was going to be kind of just a little perfect message on there. And so I'm just going to cut that out and just use that portion of this little rub-on transfer. I love getting transfers like this from Dollar Tree that you can use different parts of it. You can stretch it and use it for so many different DIYs. So I love looking for ones like this. So all I'm going to do is after I cut this out, I'm just going to place it down on my surface there. It takes me a minute to kind of slowly get it lined up. Once you stick it down, you're kind of committed. So you just want to make sure that you don't add any force or rub it until you're ready to commit to where that placement is. And then I'm just using a little bit of a craft stick or popsicle stick, a fingernail, anything, a penny to rub that design off. And then you just peel away the plastic film on there and you're good to go. I think this is just such a darling concept. I love this. I really do like the word on there. I think it adds a little bit. What do you guys think of this one? This DIY is actually a hack for you, so I hope you enjoy this. At Dollar Tree, they have these little pails that you get in the wedding section. I believe they come two to a pack. And at Hobby Lobby, year-round, you can find napkin rings, and depending on the season, the foliage might change. But this is one of the ones for spring and summer. It's a little boxwood napkin ring. You just take that and place it right inside of your little container or your little pail. I'm sure you might even have something around your house already, but this is the perfect filler for a tiered tray, kind of to tuck in there, add a little bit of greenery. It doesn't just look like it's just set there. It actually looks like it was put together. It's kind of a fun hack. What do you guys think of it? At the craft store, you can always find some cute little wood cutouts. These are some cute little birds that I happen to cut out myself, and I'm just going to show you the process of covering these up or painting them, painting them, because I feel like you can find a lot of different wood shapes in the different sections at the craft store. Now I have two sets of these. Each set of 3 I'm going to do a little bit different. They're going to look almost the same, but not quite. So I want you to pay attention and let me know which one you liked the best. So this first set here, I'm giving a very thorough coat of paint to. I give 2 or 3 actually to give a very good coverage. Now this second set here, I'm doing more of like a messy coat of paint. And so I'm just going kind of haphazardly all over the bird, not necessarily paying attention to getting every nook and cranny, just kind of like a pre-distressing, just giving it a very aged look from the get-go with the paint here. Now, and I do this with all 3 birds in each set. So you can kind of see them taking shape here and tell the difference between each set. Now I have this cute stencil here. I thought this would be a really fun stencil to use on these. Granted, you're going to see that it's much bigger than my birds, and so I can kind of turn it around and do different parts of the stencil on each bird. And I am using one of my new most favorite colors of paint that I've ever used, and it is the Vintage Duck Egg by Dixie Belle Paint. I absolutely love this color, and it turns out so beautiful on these birds. Now I just twisted each bird around on the stencil just to try and decide which part of the design I wanted on them. I wanted them to all look the same but yet different, not be completely cookie cutter. And I just am using a stencil brush with that duck egg on there and just going in an up and down motion. I'll even swirl it in some areas. You just want to make sure that your stencil is down really good before you start swirling it, because you don't want any bleed through. But I really do love using stencils, and I think they're so fun, and I like the different looks that you can get. I mean, you can see those different birds up there, how the pattern is different on each of them. And the coverage that this Dixie Belle paint gives is phenomenal. This is the first time I've ever used their paint, and I'm totally sold. I can't wait to try other colors. If you have any other colors to recommend, definitely let me know down in the comments. This by far is one of my most favorite colors of paint. I think it's just the perfect like grayish, bluish, greenish. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. So after I got my stencil and the paint on, I went ahead and sanded each of the edges. Now to me, this gave it a much more high-end look, something that was more custom. When you look at these items that you'll see in the different types of boutiques and stores, you'll see that they do have the edges finished like that, and I really just felt like it gave it a really crisp look. I also thought it would be fun to go over the actual stenciling there to give it a little bit more of a faded look, so you can see how that looks there. And then I did the same thing on all of the birds, and I even did the same thing on those birds I gave the messy coat to, but they just kind of had a lighter look. You can definitely tell the difference between the two here. Do you guys have a set that you prefer? I definitely think the messy coat set was faster to make. So if you were going to sell these, then definitely, if you like that one was definitely the easiest, but they both have a good place. I think they both turned out really pretty. This is such a fun and quick little thrift flip here. I found this darling orb here, and I do like the yellow color. However, I wanted to match kind of my decor lately, and so I did just paint this with some Dixie Belle paint. You can use whatever kind of paint, but I'm loving the Vintage Duck Egg color, and that's kind of the theme that I'm going for with some of my projects today, so I wanted them to all match. So I just cover it completely with that paint and let it dry. And then I'm taking my white wax and I'm just going to paint over the entire surface pretty heavily. Let that kind of dry, and then I'm just going to take a baby wipe and wipe all of the raised surfaces. So that white wax is just going to stay down in all of the little crevices that are there. And that way you can have the detail of this beautiful design show up. And so it's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory as you're watching this, of how easy it is and what you do. And you can always go back and add some more wax if you wipe too much off. You can always go back and add a little bit more of the original paint color lightly, but look at how beautiful. I love that way that distresses that. Now to take this one step further, I'm taking a little bit of gold paint. You might be able to use Rub and Buff on here. I've never actually used that, but I have this gold metallic acrylic paint, and I just very lightly put some on a paper towel, and then kind of, not a whole lot, I mean just a little bit, and I'm rubbing it very lightly over these raised areas so you have a little bit extra contrast there. I just thought that that would almost give it kind of a brassy look here, or like an aged brass, I guess. I just really thought it looked really pretty, and it's so fun to see the designs on this little ball pop and kind of come to life with the different colors that you use there. You can kind of see how that ends up looking there, the contrast. Do you guys like this? Is this something that you guys feel like is easy enough that you guys would like to try this? I think it turns out beautiful, and it's kind of a nice little piece just to have to tuck into your decor to add a little bit extra element. I just love it. One of the things that I love about this tiered tray is I love that it really is neutral. You could change a couple little things to really make it different season-wise, but really, even though it's birds, and birds a lot of times are associated with springtime, I think this could last you any season. It's pretty neutral with the colors, and it's not like over the top spring. However, I do want you to know that your tiered tray may not look at all like this. You may not even want to do one exactly like this, but a lot of these techniques you can use and tailor them to your taste and your style. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this tiered tray. Remember to check out the playlist that is linked down in my description box. I will also pin it in my comments. Say hello to all of the other people on there. They all have different tiered trays for you. Such wonderfully talented creators. I'm so grateful for each and every one of them participating each month in this challenge, and I thank you especially for watching and supporting us. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy crafting! If you like the video that you just saw and you want to keep crafting together, here's another video that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.